Welcome to the Butterfly Effect, Stage 9. It is the last day at the Giro before they get a day off to recover and have everything reset for the next 2 weeks of some fantastic racing, hopefully to come. Today, Rubens Guerrero for EF Education was magnificent. We did see that he wasn't pulling quite as much as Jonathan Castroviejo, but when you can get away with it and win that intelligently sitting on, if Jonathan Castroviejo wants to pull you through the last K up the steep climb and you can jump away from him with that much energy, you deserve the win. It was a fantastic display of sprinting and aggression at the finish. He clearly held something left, but I loved his celebration. It was absolutely fantastic. You see him point to the head. You know he was playing some head tactics as soon as he points to the finger to the head to tell all the viewers at home, I won using tactics and brilliance instead of brute force. Great win, Rubens. You deserved it. Portugal taking the win today and wearing the pink jersey, of course. So Portugal is having a fantastic Giro and they get to enjoy it with a rest day tomorrow. Now let's get back to the favorites. Trek-Segafredo again being overly aggressive, folks. They're on the front with 40K still to go. They're trying to split the group up and really make a selection and make it hard, but they don't have the guys that can do that on the climb. You know when you're sending your guys to the front and you're on Vincenzo Nibali's team and you're up there driving it, if you can't get rid of Michael Matthews, the sprinter, this late into a multi-mountain Grand Tour stage at the Giro, and we're on stage 9, and you can't get rid of them, there's no reason to have your team, Trek-Segafredo, riding the front. You got to pull them off. There's going to be important moments at this Giro stage still before the finish climb starts where it's really good to have your teammates near and around you. If you see the Sunweb team, they have 7, 8 guys still there all together, bunched up, looking after Wilco Kelderman. There's one other guy they're looking after too. Don't forget his name, Jay Hindley. He's the Australian young kid, born in 1996, so he's 24, 25 years old. He has a great results already in this 2020. He won 2 stages at the Herald Sun Tour, plus the overall. That's a big race. It's not the Giro, I know. It's not one of the classics. But you cannot win at this level with 2 stage wins plus the overall by accident. You must have some talent. Today is his coming out. He finished 9th or 10th on the stage. 10th on the stage. He's 9th overall. And he's with the first 3 of the favorites. Wilco Kelderman is clearly on form to win this Giro too. We saw him in stage 3 where he jumped away at a tactical advantage, jumped away from Jakob Fuglsang and Vincenzo Nibali. They played a little cat and mouse back there, so I wasn't for sure how much of that time that Wilco Kelderman gained on stage 3 was of his own power or some of the tactics. But I said even in the Butterfly Effect that I thought he was good, just maybe not as good as those 2. But now you got to put him on there as being one of the top 3, if for sure top 5, but maybe even number 1. I mean, he looked great. He rode away from all of the favorites, and he did the last 400 or 500 meters on the front. His young Australian teammate, Jay Hindley, finished there also. So you're talking about Wilco Kelderman, followed by Jakob Fuglsang on the limit, and Jay Hindley coming to the line together, putting gaps into all of the favorites. Jay Hindley's only thing right now is that might be put at the service of Wilco Kelderman at some point in time to ride at this Giro, and that might cost him some results. But at this moment, for the Butterfly Effect, you really look at how well Sunweb has raced every stage. Stage 3, tactically, Wilco Kelderman jumped away. Today, stage 9, they stayed whole as a team through all the dangerous sections, never riding the front until 10K to go. And then, of course, at the finish with a big acceleration from Wilco Kelderman. Also, I want to mention today that stage race leader Almeida talked about how cold it was. Every time when I watched him in the race, he always has a vest on or something, but He's missing the extra clothing to keep him warm. When you're really a small rider, as the GC guys are, you have to wear that extra layer of clothes. Personally, on a stage like today, I would have always started with arm warmers for sure, possibly an undershirt, but the other riders in the field love undershirts. It has to be much colder for me to put an undershirt on. Day like today, I would have to know the exact temperature and what it felt like before I put one on, because you can't take an undershirt off. Sometimes it made me feel a little claustrophobic and stuff. So I usually prefer a jersey, the vest, and then you go rain jacket on and off throughout the stages. You have multiple gloves in the car, so you can always change, because your gloves will never dry. So if there's a dry moment in the race that you can warm up, you go back, you throw the wet gloves in the car, and you grab dry ones. Now, tomorrow's a rest stage for the Giro, so I'm going to do a video on my rain bag that I have in the race car and what the riders are doing when they're going back there, what they're grabbing, what they're communicating for, because there's a big efforts in the group to actually have to drop back there each time and get those clothing, get it back up, because most of the time the Domestique guys carry not only clothing for him, but probably 3 or 4 other riders on the team too. For certain Sunweb guys, they have 2 leaders now, Jay Hindley and Wilco Kelderman, so they would have somebody else going back there, grabbing their clothes on these upcoming stages if we see the rain again. Very important on a stage like today to be dressed properly at all times. You never want to come down one of these descents freezing and cold and then have to start the next climb. The knees on the riders, when they get cold, they just don't turn over until you start warming up again. It's incredibly complicated once you get cold to get yourself warm. So a major thing on today's stage is how the riders were dressed and who dresses properly. It looked like on a stage like today, it's a little fine cut on the edge on how much you needed to wear. Personally, when I'm looking at the video, I think the guys picking the arm warmers, the vest, cycling cap, that is the way to start the race, and then putting your rain jacket on and off to adjust the temperature for when you're going up and when you're going down the climbs is really what's going to decide the outcome and the finish of this race, if you can make it to the finish without freezing. Wasn't extremely cold today, but whenever it is, keep in mind the riders, there's always a bit of chaos. It's something to watch there. Keep an eye on Jay Hindley. He's my pick. He was back there. It's like I told you on Butterfly Effect. You got to look past the winner of the stage or the first on GC. It gets complicated, I know, at times. But Jay Hindley, that little spot at 10th right there on the stage, that is a sign that that kid is ready to go. He's on form. He's already been winning this year. So keep an eye on Jay. He's my Butterfly Effect for Wilco Kelderman. They got 2 options to play on GC now, and the other teams are going to have to keep an eye on the Sunweb guys. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you tomorrow. Even though it's a day off at the Giro, I'm still working. It's the Butterfly Effect. Hope you enjoyed it.